2012's The Walking Dead was the game that put Telltale on the map and popularized choice format. And I'm sorry. Let's be honest, everybody. Does anybody really want to hear this ring around again? I mean, every single Telltale or Walking Dead video essay has brought up the same points over and over again, and I'm probably going to too. How they tried to recapture the magic of the first game and failed spectacularly, and then took a bunch of projects too fast, which made them all basically the same game. Do people like watching that over and over again? That's a rhetorical, because I do, and since these essays continue to get views, I guess so. So Telltale just kind of fell off the map, right? That's not what I expected from one of the most popular game developers, maybe ever, in like the early 2010s. But let's be honest with yourselves, have you ever thought of a Telltale game since The Walking Dead Season 4? My bet is that you haven't. I was recommended the RT Games run of Minecraft Story Mode and went, that would be cool to maybe check that out again. But when I went to install the game, I could only install the first episode, and all other seasons and episodes were locked out of the Xbox store. Man, dude, that is so weird to think about. Just gone. Where did bro go? Telltale Games is a cautionary tale about the risks of rapid expansion and over-reliance on a single revenue stream. Doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. We learned that in Far Cry 3. How can people still make the same mistake? But I guess money talks, so why not get a little crazy? As long as you don't lose the staff's morale, miss your payments on all of those licensing, and have players stop buying past episode 3, right? Oh god, that's exactly what happened with Telltale, isn't it? Oh. Yikes, dude. It's like watching a train crash in slow motion. You want to look away so badly, yet your eyes are so glued to it. Telltale has and will always be defined by The Walking Dead Season 1. They captured magic in a bottle with the plot, atmosphere, characters, everything you could do, they did and knocked it out of the park. And then they were told to do it again. And they couldn't. They shook it off as a fluke and tried again, and realized they can't. And by the time they looked down, they were making a Minecraft Story Mode episode featuring Minecraft YouTubers in a murder mystery parody for a magical flint and steel to open up to a hub portal filled with different colored portals to different quirky adventures. You see how stupid that sounds, right? The stories just kind of fell apart because they stopped to move on to the next title. At that point, you are begging someone to come in and put you out of your misery. But don't forget what Telltale was. Telltale Games jump-started an era of interactive storytelling and player-driven narratives. With their unique approach to game design, Telltale revolutionized the adventure game genre by placing the emphasis on characters and choices and consequences, even if they didn't really matter. In the big picture, it didn't, but they felt like they did. And that's all that matters. They dominated the 2010s, captivating players worldwide with their gripping narrative, singular, because The Walking Dead was probably the only good narrative they had, maybe The Wolf Among Us, but their memorable characters, sure enough, and that ambiguous decision that's are kind of talked about today with something like the Kenny versus Jane debate. Not much of a debate, but hey, I can include it. They paved the way for narrative-focused games, demonstrating the power of interactive storytelling and the impact it can have on a player. which was further expanded with other games like Detroit Become Human, an amazing game, or like Life is Strange. Telltale Games will always be remembered as the catalyst that jump-started an era of player agency and narrative exploration in the gaming industry. I told you I would repeat those same points. But Telltale's blunders did end up dooming a large number of their projects, the biggest being The Walking Dead Season 4, which was in the middle of its life cycle, and it just kind of shut down, it stopped. The loss of such a prominent studio highlighted the challenges faced by developers in the increasingly competitive gaming landscape. They weren't the kings of the mountain anymore, and they had to realize that and ultimately make that decision that nobody wants to make. However, while time may have caused the industry to move on, Telltale's legacy, I would say, remains intact. Their games have influenced the developer. Their games influenced countless developers and inspired a resurgence in the popularity of choice-based narratives. That's why Telltale is going to make a comeback, because people want these games. Although they may not be the forefront of current gaming conversations anymore, they will always have a significant place in the history books, recognized as that one studio that released The Walking Dead Season 1. And a bunch of other things, but The Walking Dead Season 1. That alone is good enough for the history books. So, just like every other Telltale video essay, let's cue the Walking Dead sad music, and let's jump into the finale. The fall of Telltale Games is bittersweet, and is akin to Icarus flying too close to the sun. But at least we got to explore these amazing stories when they hit their mark. People literally crying when Lee dies, a pretty good Batman Season 1, The Wolf Among Us, which I've heard is pretty good but have not yet played, and maybe even Minecraft Story Mode. Because I did enjoy the little bit I played when I was recording the first episode for the footage you're seeing right now. There's a lot of bad, but there's always a lot of good. And shouldn't we remember the good? Thank you for watching. If you enjoy what I do, maybe consider checking out some of my other stuff. Thank you so much.
Oh, fuck that.